Hey guys, it's Scoggins here to talk about how to do the flying text activity. So again, we're going to choose an ActionScript 3.0 in order to create this animation. For today, we're going to be using a text box to create a word that we're going to have fly around our page. For today, I'm going to choose the word time. It doesn't matter what font you choose, it doesn't matter what font size you choose, but you just want to choose something that you can work with that you like. So this one's perfectly fine for me, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to go back to my Move tool, and I'm going to right-click on the Move tool, and I'm going to say Break Apart. When I break this one apart, however, it's not going to break it apart like it did on the Shape Tween where it became individual little points. What it did is it became individual text boxes instead that I can manipulate. Now, for this purpose, I'd like to distribute these to separate layers. Right now they're all on layer 1 and I want them on separate layers. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say distribute to layers. And what it's going to do is it's going to create new layers, one for each letter. I can delete layer 1 because that layer is empty. Personally, I'm going to move these around because I like mine to be in the right order. And I'm going to start with my layer T. Now, for the first one, I'm going to right-click and convert this to a symbol, or it's F8 on my keyboard. And I'm going to call it T and say OK. And I'm going to do the same for the I, the M, and the E. Once they're all symbols, what I'd like is for it to, the animation to start with the words all in the same place and then end at frame 30 all back in the same place. So I'm going to start with frame T on that first keyframe, and I'm going to copy the frames by right clicking, and then I'm going to come down to frame 30, I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste the frames. So now frame 1 and frame 30, the T is in the exact same place. I'm going to do the same thing for the I, the M, and the E. I'm going to go back to my first letter and I'm going to come down to keyframe 5 and I'm going to insert a keyframe. Remember, you can right click and say insert keyframe, or you can just hit F6 on your keyboard. And with my transform tool, I'm going to move my letter T around my stage, rotating it and changing its size as I do for each 5 frames. So insert a keyframe, move my letter T, rotate it, maybe make it a little fatter and skew it a little. And I'm just going to keep moving it all the way around my board in a way that's just a little different, until I kind of get it the way I want. And the goal is to be getting it back close to where it's going to end, which is at the beginning. Once I'm all done, I'm going to take my whole layer. Remember, you can click 1, hold down the shift key and click to 30. And then right click in the yellow and we're going to create a classic tween. It's a classic tween because we converted these to symbols, and in order to put an animation on it, it has to be a classic. And now when I hit enter, my letter T is going to fly around my page. I'm going to slow it down and change my FPS to 12 so you can kind of see it a little more easily. Other things you can do is you can come to different frames and you can add a color effect. If you want, maybe change the actual color itself so that when it flies, it actually adjusts color. You're going to do that same thing for the I, the M, and the E, or whichever letters you particularly choose. And when you're all done, make sure you show it to me so I can give you a grade. All right.